guys, welcome back to the Crafty Maven Getaway channel, and this is the sketch I'm going to be using in the inspiration piece for today. And I'm going to be using this paper from, I believe it's Pink Paisley and Paige Evans. I think it's Paige Evans, but I actually love this paper because I am able to use all different colors and patterns on one layout, but only use one sheet of paper, so I'm not actually having to cut into a lot of papers. So the sketch that you saw at the very beginning has these hearts all over the page, kind of towards the bottom, and I end up actually doing it more like this sketch. I was thinking about putting the hearts kind of all the way across the page, but then I decided I just didn't really like how that was looking. It was just a little too overwhelming, so I went kind of more with what the sketch was exactly. So I just punched all of those hearts out. There are two different sizes of hearts, and I used a Creative Memories punch for that. And I just punched out the various hearts, and it was nice because the Creative Memories punch fit exactly with the square, so it worked out really, really well. So now I'm just placing my hearts. I move them around a lot, and I kind of spare you all of the detail of me moving those hearts around a lot. And I actually do a lot of moving around on this layout, so I cut out a lot of that movement just because I think that gets a little bit boring. But hopefully you guys still kind of see my thought process here. So I am now looking at what to do and where to put the strip. I want to put a strip underneath, and I was trying to figure out what color I like best. And I end up settling on, I believe, pink. Yes, pink strip. And I will end up cutting this down a bit. It will be cut down maybe about 3/4 of the way so that there's a little bit of white space there on the left-hand side. So I'm just kind of playing again with these hearts, trying to figure out how this is going to look. And if I like the pink, I want to make sure there was enough contrast between the hearts and the pink strip that is going to work. And I decided that I do like this. However, I feel like the hearts are still getting a little bit lost, or the edge of the hearts are getting a little bit lost on this page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my chalk ink and then ink up the edges of these hearts just ever so slightly. It's kind of a dark kind of blue color, and I'm going to edge up all of the hearts, and I'm going to edge the strip of paper here. And I really like how that turns out, and it just gives a little bit of added texture and a little bit of definition between the hearts and that strip. I haven't really inked anything in quite some time, and I really like how this turned out, and I think it worked well with what I was trying to get, or the look I was trying to get. So now I'm just marking where that strip is going to be because I'm going to do some mixed media on the background. And I'm going to put some clear gesso first. A lot of times when I use the white cardstock, I like to use the clear gesso because it does not give that kind of yellowish tinge. I didn't want to be able to see the gesso. So this clear gesso works really well. Now I would like to know if you guys have any experience with clear gesso that is not gritty. I would love to hear from you. I was thinking about trying to get the Ranger clear gesso, and when I ordered it the other day from Joann's, it was apparently out of stock. So I ordered it, and then they contacted me saying it wasn't available, and I wanted to try that out. I do like the Liquitex gesso. I like how it works on the page, but I don't like the grit it has. It tends to, especially on this basil cardstock that I have, it's a textured cardstock, it tends to almost like chew it up like sandpaper. So if I'm trying to spread it out, I have to be really careful with it. So I'm hoping to find a clear gesso that is not gritty. I'm wondering if it has to be gritty in order to have that tooth for when you're trying to add the paints and stuff, or if it's just this Liquitex brand. So if you guys have any comments or questions or suggestions about that, let me know, because I would love to find one that's not gritty. So I just showed you the different colors that I'm going to be using. I'm going to use this Lindy Stamp Gang, and then I'm also going to be using some shimmers spray here on this layout. And first I'm going to use the lighter color. I'm just kind of making this all color go around where that strip of pink paper is. Oh, and I just turned my light on. It was a little dark. So I'm just kind of adding this on. This pink is very light. It's kind of, I don't remember if it was called cotton candy, but I did show you in the beginning kind of what that color was. And I really like what this looks like. And then I'm going to add the blue shimmers, and it's Jenny B Blue is the color that I'm going to be using. It's a really pretty color, and when I first put it on, I'm going to think, oh my god, I totally ruined this, because this Jenny B Blue is really dark. And I add a little bit of water, trying to make sure that it was not so thick looking. So I'm frantically patting it up, and I apologize for a little bit of camera shake here. And I'm a little nervous about it being a little too dark, but in the end, when I end up putting that stripe of pink paper on it, it ends up looking okay. So I'm just going to keep going here, kind of crossing my fingers, hoping that it's going to end up looking okay. And my camera is shaking. I'm actually at a crop doing this, so my camera setup's a little bit different, so it's not quite as stable because I have to put it on the table that I'm using. So I apologize for any of the camera shake when I'm patting the layout up. So I'm just going to keep going with this. I want to get the extra dimension of the paint. So what I do for that in order to get like the multi-layered look is I will smush down some paint or some spray, and then I will kind of blot it up, and then I'll smush some more down. So you can keep doing that over and over again with the same color, and then you get that different modeling look where you have the darker and the lighter shades, but you're only using the one spray. So that's kind of how you get that. If you just put the one layer down, you don't actually see that kind of different color variation. So if you're looking for something that looks more modeled like this, that's a way to do that. And then I'm going to come back in, and I think I'm going to add some sprays. Or not sprays, I'm sorry, some splatters here in a little bit, but I also wanted to put a heart up here in the top left, so I'm going to do some mixed media up there, basically the same technique I just did with the bottom portion. I'm going to add a little bit of pink, a little bit of blue, and then that will be something that looks good and coordinates with the other part of the layout. So that's just kind of what I'm doing now, using the packaging technique. And then here, because I didn't want to have too much of the blue, I'm just going to use my paintbrush and the Jenny B Blue spray, and then that way it's not quite as crazy looking. So I am just using my paintbrush and now splattering it down because I already had some of that blue on my little piece of plastic there. I didn't want to waste it, so I just used that to blot it up, and then I'm just going to blot up a little bit more and then use my wand for the pink because it's pretty light. And I really like Lindy's Stamp Gang sprays. I like the texture of them. They're kind of more of a liquidy, so they're a little more thin. They're not as opaque. And I really like how that looks a lot of times. It just kind of depends on what I'm doing, whether I like something that's a little more opaque or something that's a little bit more translucent. So depending on what you're looking for, that's kind of something to keep in mind. So now I'm going to start gluing down all of these hearts, and I'm not going to put a whole lot of glue on them because as you see there, I added some stitching through them. And my sewing machine, almost a typewriter, my sewing machine was giving me fits. I was having all kinds of problems. I couldn't get it to sew right, so I think I tried to restring my bobbin like 20 times, and I think I figured out that I think my bobbin was funny. I can't quite remember anymore, but there was something funky with it, and I finally figured it out after many frustrating tries at trying to sew it. So I finally got that sewn down. So I put 2 lines of stitching through each of the heart rows, or columns, I guess. And now I'm going to be mounting my photo on to some cardstock and then some tissue paper. And I like to put a layer of paper between my tissue paper and my picture. I do try to worry about the archivalness of, is that a word? Archivalness of my products I'm using. So I try not to get anything too near my picture or under my picture that is not acid free. For the rest of the page, I don't really care too much. I just try to separate it from the picture. So if the picture stays intact, that's kind of what I'm looking for. And if the paper and stuff gets a little yellowed, it's not the end of the world. And who knows if my daughter's actually going to keep all these scrapbook albums I have made over the years. And, you know, once I'm gone, hopefully she'll keep a few or she'll pull out the pages she likes. But, you know, if she doesn't, I'm not going to be too upset. And like I said, if I'm not around, it won't matter. So I'm hoping she will look back at a lot of these pages and enjoy them. But I do them for the fun of it, and I really would like them to stay around, but you know, I'm not going to make her feel bad. I don't want her to feel guilty if that's not something she wants to keep. And I do only have one child, so if, you know, that's a lot of scrapbooks for her to take. So, you know, we'll see. Now I'm going to be working on the title. I got my picture put down, and I'm going to use these blue letter stickers. I think they're from Pink Paisley, and they're kind of a vellum sticker. And then I'm going to use this really fun pink glittery font from Thickers, and my title is going to be Roller Babe. And I am not very good at titles, but I was pretty proud of myself. Not that this is a real unique title, but it's better than at the roller skating rink or at whatever the place is called to roller skate, you know. So at least I was a little bit creative, and I like how it all fits in. I was a little worried with the 2 B's and Babe how it's going to fit, and I didn't know if I was going to like separating it out with the roller, but I actually do like how that turns out. And I do like these stickers from Pink Paisley. I like how they're that's kind of see-through, and they worked really well on that white cardstock. So now I'm going to use some pink fresh word strips here, and I'm just going to put a cluster of them in the bottom right, and then I'm also going to add a little die cut that says play at the end after I finish this up. And while I'm kind of finishing that up, it's getting towards the end of the video, so I want to say thank you very much for joining us today. And if you would like to, you can play along on our Facebook page. We also have a blog. All of the links are below. If you're interested in seeing any other videos I do, my information is below as well. I mostly do a lot of Project Life and some scrapbooking. I tend to be putting more Project Life up on my channel recently than scrapbooking, or the traditional 12 by 12, but I also do some Traveler's Notebook scrapbooking as well. So if you're interested in any of that, you can definitely join me over on my channel. It's froggie251, and like I said, the links are below, and so are my social media accounts. But definitely check out the Crafty Maven YouTube channel because we always have so much fun stuff going on. Real soon they are going to be having, or we're going to be having, what's it called? It's the annual scrapbook yearly thing. What is that called? Oh my goodness. I can't remember. It's the big scrapbooking weekend coming up. And I cannot think of what it's called. But I'm sure all of you guys listening know exactly what I'm talking about, and you'll be able to come join us over there at the Crafty Maven for our scrapbooking weekend. There's going to be some extra layouts and stuff shown that weekend. So anyway, I am just finishing up here with adding some little stickers. I'm trying to coordinate with the colors of the hearts, and there's not really a rhyme or reason besides that. So I'm adding a little yellow heart by the yellow heart. I'm adding, I think I grab a number 3, which means nothing really, but a number 3 to, yeah, I put over there in the bottom right hand corner with the green. It's like a citron color. Put the number 3 there because it coordinates. I put some pluses by some of the color coordinating pluses, or some of the color coordinating hearts. And that's just kind of what I did. I just want to add a few little embellishments, nothing too much because this page is pretty busy with all the mixed media. I just want to add a little bit of extra texture, and that's why I added some of the little enamel shapes and things. And I'm adding that little heart die cut, which is really cute. I think it's Pink Fresh Studio or Pink Paisley. I can't quite remember, but it came in an old Scraptastic kit. And then I'm adding this play like I mentioned earlier. I'm just using my fine liner bottle with my Scotch tacky glue in it. And I'm just going to hold that down. With it being the gesso, it is pretty gritty and it takes a little bit to stay. So I'm just holding that down so that it adheres nicely to the page and doesn't pop off. And I think what I'm going to do at the end here is just finish it off by adding my date. And I'm just going to hand write my date on this one. I kind of go back and forth on whether I use my date roller stamp or just handwrite. It just kind of depends on how I'm feeling. And then this particular day, and I did a couple layouts actually this day because I was at a crop, I did a lot of hand writing of my date and my journaling. And I'm just using one of the Stabilo pens, and I'm using this light gray color. And I'm contemplating on whether I want to do some journaling or just put the date, and I end up just putting the date on this page. So like I said, I want to thank you guys very much for joining me, and I will have some still shots at the end. If you would like to, please leave a comment below, and if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it, and let YouTube know you care, and I will talk to you guys again in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.